Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Loredena, the moderator of this amazing panel, City-to-City Fintech in Latin America. I am coming from Finsight.news, editor and founder, and today I'm being joined by representatives, and I can call them ambassadors of Latin America's fintech ecosystems. We have Mariano Biocca from Argentina, Carlos Torres from Mexico, Diego Perez from Brazil, Ángel Sierra from Chile, I hope I pronounced the name correctly, and Erick Cárdenas from Colombia. Thank you very much for being here with us today and taking us on a little trip to Latin America to find the hidden gems of the innovation there. I would love to give the floor to you guys now to introduce yourselves and talk a bit about the role that you have in the fintech ecosystem. I'll start with you, Erick.
Okay, thank you. I'm a lawyer, and I wish that this is not a defect here, but I'm a lawyer from Universidad del Rosario in Colombia with postgraduate degrees in financial and commercial law, and currently I'm a president of Colombia Fintech Association and professor in the University of the Rosario.
Thank you very much, Erick. Let's go all the way to Brazil now. Diego?
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here on this panel with my colleagues from our region. South America is amazing. My name is Diego Perez. I'm the CEO of ABFintechs, which is the Fintech Association of Brazil as well. And also I'm the co-founder of a fintech here in Brazil, which is SMU Investments. It's a crowdfund platform that connects investors to promising startup companies that are raising money online as well. And also I'm a lawyer by background as well. So I used to work close to banks and tech companies here in Brazil. So somehow I'm navigating very well on this regulation and legislation regarding financial services here in Brazil. And I'm here to discuss and share some thoughts about the fintech industry locally.
That's great. I think law and fintech goes hand in hand. Let's go all the way to Mexico now. Hi, Carlos.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. I think this is going to be very interesting because I'm a lawyer too. I'm a partner at YNG, a Mexican law firm specialized in fintech, payment methods, anti-money laundering, corporate law, and e-commerce. And we are specialized also in fintech payment methods with clients all aboard in Mexico, North America, South America, and Asia.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Carlos. Hi, Mariano. Off to you now in Argentina.
Hello, everyone. I am really pleased to be here. I am not a lawyer, so that's the first thing. Now, I am executive director at the Argentina Fintech Association. Previously, I worked at iBillionaire, which was a robo-advisor acquired by another financial company in the US. I am really pleased to be here with such respected colleagues, and it's a real honor. And well, I'm glad to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the fintech space in Argentina and our views from Latin America, which is a place of a lot of opportunities.
Thank you so much, Mariano. And now let's go to the neighboring country in Chile. Hi, Ángel.
Hi, Loredena. Hi, everybody. It's an honor to be with you today, and thanks for to all the team of the Fintech Week London. I am Ángel Sierra, Executive Director of Fintech Chile, the Chilean Fintech Association, a really young initiative of 100 companies up to now. And of course, as all my colleagues, working hard to have a great fintech industry. It will be an honor to share with you what's happening in Chile, our view of the region, because we are working really close with all the countries in order to attract and create Latin America the next big place to be in fintech. So thank you for the invitation, and that's all.
Impressive all around. We can truly say that you guys are the ambassadors of the fintech ecosystems of your countries. So I'm really looking forward to a very interesting conversation today. Now, let's dive right into it. I'm going to start with a few stats. According to our research team at Finsight.news, currently 70% of the Latin American population is unbanked. What does it mean? It means that the whole entire continent is right now ripe for innovation. We also know that in 2022, we're expecting that 90% of all the internet connections will be mobile connections. So we are here to discuss today, how can we use these opportunities to actually make fintech a reality that works both for the people and solving socioeconomic problems, but also to advance more growth for the economies of these countries. So I'll start with the first question. And is, I think, a very practical question. We see so much in the press from outside. I'm talking with you today all the way from Dubai for a London-based event. So I think it's fair to ask you, how is the reality on the ground? What is the current state of fintech on the ground from your perspective? And I would love to hear from reality from Colombia, from Argentina, and of course from Brazil.
Okay, in Colombia, we have more than 350 companies developing fintech solutions. We also have companies linked to the different verticals of the industry, where the most important ones are developing solutions for digital payments, lending, and factoring. Digital lending is the largest vertical developed in Colombia, but we can't leave behind all the digital payment solutions that have allowed our citizens to inject cash in these difficult times of pandemic, and the interesting solutions focused on electronic factoring.
How is it in Brazil?
Okay, perfect. Well, things here in Brazil are growing very fast when it comes to fintech industry. We have, if you combine fintech companies itself with some enablers or that somehow develop fintech solutions here in Brazil, we have more than 1,000 companies, around 1,150. In our association in particular, we have around 500 members. So it's very impressive, the number that we reached so far when it comes to fintechs here in Brazil. And a similar situation to Colombia, the fintechs that somehow provide the payment services here is the #1 solutions. This is due to some minor adjustments on the regulation throughout the years, at least 7 years ago, that promoted inclusion and also competition, fair competition, because here in Brazil, the banking services are very well concentrated. We have only 5 big banks holding at least 80% of the financial services available for the public. So one of the symptoms of these concentrations is the spreads and the high prices for the end users of financial services in Brazil. But on the other hand, there's a lot of opportunities for fintechs as well. So we have the second most valuable fintech in the world, which is Nubank, which is a digital bank that provides banking services for Gen Zs and millennials, but they are expanding its operation not only in Latin America. They have presence in Colombia and Mexico already. I guess Argentina is starting, but they also have some developments in Europe, especially in Germany, where they used to hire engineers from Europe and so on to develop this situation. But also we have all sorts of fintechs in Brazil from blockchain and crypto, and also foreign exchange and payments, crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending. As I said, at least 1,000 companies mapped on the last highlights here in Brazil, the last reports here in Brazil. So it's growing very fast here.
Very diverse and very, very strong, as we can see. And this is absolutely amazing. So how is it the reality on the ground in Argentina, Mariano?
The last 3 years, the number of fintech companies in Argentina turned from 100 to 300. And let me tell you that this number, although it's pretty spectacular, it's more spectacular when you when you get to know the micro and macroeconomic environment, which is right now. In Latin America, pretty complicated, but maybe in Argentina, a little bit more complicated. And what I love and what we love from the association about this industry is that it's an industry that creates opportunities for the population. You said more or less in Latin America, we are 650 million people. More or less, depending on the country, between 70 or 50% has no access or a very bad access to the banking system. So as I said a few seconds ago, we are an industry of new opportunities because a lot of people that has access to a cell phone, but maybe no access to a bank account, can have the chance to have a first credit, a first payment, a first investment, a first buying crypto for the first time, a first insurance, or like whatever first time you want to say. The main two business models in our country are payments, with more or less 26-27% of the industry are payment companies, which is what we find basically in all Latin America and in all the world, because payments is not only a business model, but it's also infrastructure, because if you have a good payments ecosystem, you can build better, more efficient fintech business models. So that's good. Then in second place, we have credit companies. More or less 22-23% of our companies are consumer credit companies. We have a big problem about credit access in our country. So these companies are giving a lot of credit to people that actually have no access to bank credit. In third place, we have investment companies, like online brokers. We have a lot of online brokers. And in fourth place, we have crypto companies, which are definitely having an excellent year, and we have world-class solutions here in the crypto space in Argentina. And just to tell you a little bit about the association, when we started 3.5 years ago, we were just 13 founder companies with the idea of maybe creating an association for this industry, which we were not sure if fintech was an industry or just like a couple of tech startups which were involved with finance. And right now the association has 200 members, 200 companies. So it has been and it is a beautiful journey of where we turned from just, like a cool startup association to be one of the most relevant industries that is generating a beautiful amount of opportunities here in Argentina. So it's a promising environment, although maybe it's a promising environment for fintech, although maybe, as I said, like the micro and microeconomic moment is not the best, but the opportunities are still very, very big.
Exciting all around, and I think we've seen fintech gaining momentum across the world, mostly in 2020 when the pandemic, kind of like shut down the whole entire planet. And it's exciting to see not only the fact that it's solving a big socioeconomical problem, but at the same time provides opportunities for so many other innovators and idea people that can combine their skills, knowledge, and technicalities into solutions that literally could change the world. Which takes me to the next question, and I would love to hear from Carlos and from Angel, and I hope I pronounce your name correctly. We've seen this eagerness and so much passion around the fintech ecosystem across the region, and people are willing to create, people are willing to invest, people are willing to help their peers have access to money, financial education, and everything else. Now, I want to know from the regulatory perspective, and here is where I need your thoughts, Carlos. How is fintech seen, adopted by the governments and any other entity that has legal say? And of course, are there any regulatory bodies already created across the region to regulate fintech also when it comes to crypto, because I think it's gaining a lot of momentum in Latin America more than anywhere else in the world, with the recent announcement that came out of El Salvador, for example. So over to you, Carlos.
Okay. Well, I am proud to say that, as you may know, the fintech law for Mexico was published on 2018, being the first type of the first one of its type in Latin America. And after a really, really hard work until today, we have 46 fintechs that already get the license from the government to operate. Why just 46 if we have studies that say we have 500 of fintechs, because the fintech law only regulates e-wallets, crowdfunding, virtual assets, and sandbox. That's why until today we have just 46 fintech license of this type. I am proud to say that, but we need to still work on the financial inclusion. As you said, in Mexico, 53% of the adults do not have a bank account, and only 3 out of 10 Mexicans have access to any type of loans or credits. So we need to still work on that. I always joke that the main impulsor of fintech last year was not the government, was COVID, because we were on quarantine a lot of time, and that pushed the Mexicans to use fintech. But I really need to recognize the hard work that the government is currently doing to review all the fintech license, because they are a financial entity now in Mexico. So there are some areas of fintech that we need to work on, like insurtech, real estate tech, Mariano said, like robo-advisors, but we are on a good way. So I'm proud to say that.
That sounds promising for the future, mostly coming from Mexico, such a big country with so much opportunities. And I think it's going to solve a lot, not to solve, but to push the country to a complete next level of socioeconomic impact. So now from a Chile's point of view, how is the regulation? And I would like you guys to not just limit to Mexico or Chile, but from your perspective, how do you see the region at large? Is it easier? Is it harder compared with other countries as well? We all know a few parts of the world are very shut down to any type of money innovation, knowing that they lose control over it. So it's good to hear from your perspective as well. So over to you, Angel.
Thank you, Loredana. And yes, well, regarding a general perspective, I will say that all the Latin American countries are on board on fintech. It's really, I feel really proud to say, in accordance with Carlos, that for instance, the IBB, the Inter-American Development Bank, is leading an initiative that is called Fintech Lag. And this initiative is trying to gather to a one table all the regulators and Fintech Association of all the region to talk about fintech and how to continue developing the industry in the region. So this is good news. I think that this is a really good news for all the European fintech companies that are evaluating to arrive to Latin America, because we are on the way. As always happened, Latin America is a follower of what's happening in Europe and other countries. But now that Latin America is understanding how their countries regulate their fintech industry, they are giving their step forward. So this is good news for the entire region. Now, regarding Chile, we have good news. In addition, in just a few days or weeks, we will have a fintech law bill going to the Congress. And this is great because it's an integral let's say, fintech law, where we are going to talk about open finance. Now, the concept is not open banking, but open finance, about the entire financial ecosystem sharing data, cryptocurrencies, crowdfunding, CFDs, robo-advisors. So this is a really huge project. We are facing, in addition, payment initiation. So it's a big bill, let's say, and we are really close for that, about the finance ministry sending this project to the Congress. It will take, of course, a time to have the law, but it's really promising and really good for the companies evaluating to arrive to Chile, because we will, what the finance ministry said some days ago is that we want to become Chile a fintech hub, let's say, in the region. And I know we all are trying. If all my colleagues and all the countries are trying, but well, Chile is doing this initiative to attract companies, and of course there it comes the regulation arbitration, because all the countries are trying to create the incentives to attract companies, and well, it will be a matter of time that the entire fintech industry of the world will have the complete picture to say which country is more fintech friendly, let's say. But in general terms, I will say that Latin America is the next big place to where companies have to stay. So we welcome all to the region, to Latin America.
This sounds all very, very awesome, and good luck with that bill. I hope it will be one of the first ones to report on it. Now, you know, there is a lot of enthusiasm when it comes to anything innovation across Latin America. I would love to actually dive into the subject of El Salvador's adoption legally of Bitcoin, but I think that's going to take us another like 2 hours, and today the time is not going to permit us to talk about that in the detail that I would love to. But now I've heard from all of you the reality of the ground, regulation, and how is that managed in the main hubs. Now, 2020 was a very, very difficult year across the globe. 2021 still is in the aftermath of a global pandemic. And we've seen the adoption of Bitcoin in El Salvador. Then we are seeing this momentum that fintech gains across the countries in Latin America, more than anywhere else, I could say, as of now. Now, I want to know what were the top advancements that you've seen in the past 1 year or so in terms of fintech? And here I'm talking about what were the main application of fintech that helped, you know, socioeconomically the region to, you know, pass the pandemic, let's say, make transfers between the countries much cheaper, between the people much cheaper, make sure that you get to make payments without necessarily touching cash anymore. And I think a very, very touchy subject is how is actually fintech helping people to make money? And this goes a bit beyond being unbanked. How do you make the money to actually have how to be banked and become part of the system? I'd like to start with Colombia, with you, Eric, if you can help me here with an answer.
Okay, in the project approved by the Assembly of El Salvador, which allows to declare Bitcoin as a legal tender in that country, marks an unprecedented milestone, since Salvadorans will be able to accept Bitcoin as a means of payment for their transactions, pay taxes, acquire obligations and financial products, acquire goods and services. In this sense, this currency will have liberating power, like the one that exceeds with the US dollar, which is the local currency in Salvador. In short term, this has a simple symbolic effect due to the country's position in the global economy, and the path they must follow in terms of adoption by all citizens which will take some time, but in the long term, it will have positive repercussions for some and negative for others, as is the case of the International Monetary Fund, which has already pronounced in this sense, due to its collateral effect or financial markets and foreign trade. The current government's commitment in El Salvador is to build confidence in the country for the arrival of investment and large technology-based companies. It must be taken into account that there are cryptocurrency exchange platforms that exceeds financial institutions in market capitalization, and that marks a very important milestone in which their arrival can increase the economic potential in the country. El Salvador now is positioned as the Central American country with the highest growth rate of remittances in 2021. Is a good example.
Absolutely. I think this move really shows a lot of the trust in innovation, and it really propulsates the whole region forward in the faster adoption. Definitely, it's a longer game here. It's not the adoption is not happening overnight. We still have people to bank and people to educate about the benefits of going crypto. I would love to hear from you, Diego. What is, in your opinion, the top top benefits and advancements that you've seen in the past 1.5 years that helped socioeconomically the people to pass through the pandemic, get access to money, and then of course move the money around in in these critical times?
Okay, perfect. Well, here in Brazil, there has been a lot of developments in the past year due to the pandemic. Of course, we don't used to celebrate the pandemic, but somehow it pushed forward the digitalization here in Brazil. So we had the launch of the Brazilian Fast Payment System, which we call here PIX, P-I-X, which is an open infrastructure that it's operated by the Brazilian Central Bank, but any company that provides payment services here in Brazil can connect. And even for a small fintech or a big bank, they have the same power of processing for a fast payment in only 10 seconds. It was very important to circulate money throughout Brazil, especially on this situation where handling currency money, it's not healthy, it's not safe here, but also to give an opportunity for small vendors to go outside and try to sell something or to buy something and to provide food for its family. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people very well, how can I say, maybe vulnerable people in a vulnerable situation here due to the pandemic. So the Brazilian government has released financial support, emergency financial support for this population. And the fintechs had a key role to distribute this financial support as well. Not only the public allowance for them, but also the emergency credit directed to the consumers. So there has some minor adjustments on the Brazilian legislation in order to include the fintech companies for them to serve as a tool to spread the emergency and the subsidied credit here in Brazil. But also there's another developments ongoing, like the open banking system, which is now becoming an open finance system as well. It's already functioning. The first phase where you can interact with another institution and trying to understand the prices of the products that's available for the market in a very fast way. So you do not have to ask for an employee of the bank to understand the costs of investing or to get a credit contract. So you can do this automatically. And also there's some phases going on where the transactions will be possible without the interaction with a financial institution here in Brazil. So it's very similar to what happened in the UK. So it's a benchmark for us here. All the time that we discuss with the regulator what the Brazilian open banking system could be, we used to appoint the UK use case, the successes of the UK open banking system as well. And there's other developments like the regulatory sandboxes. Here in Brazil, we have more than one regulator for financial services. We have one for banking and payments, another one for capital markets, another one for insurances. So it's there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of red tapes to overcome, but also they are very keen to provide the innovation, especially for the inclusion and democratization of financial services in Brazil. So if you combine the sandboxes regulatories that was put in place by those regulators here in Brazil, there was more than 100 companies that applied. So there's a lot of innovation to come as soon as the results of those sandboxes came out. And finally, there's a movement here in Brazil where non-financial companies are providing financial services. So big companies locally like Rappi and Mercado Libre, they all of them have its own wallets and payment services as well. So they are like food delivery services or marketplaces, but they also provide financial services here in Brazil. And they are offering services for a group of people that do not have access of banking services at all. So it's some kind of inclusion that is provided by companies that are not financial institutions here in Brazil. And the open banking system, the open finance, it's going to push this forward on the coming years. So from the Brazilian perspective, that is what's happening now here in Brazil.
Brazil is very busy at the moment, and I think this is just a beginning for you. If this is just a beginning, imagine how far it's going to go in a few years. I'm going to be very excited to follow Brazil closely with the developments and the innovation coming out of there. So now, Mariano, if you are in Argentina now, and you want to send money, let's say to Brazil or to Mexico or to Colombia or to London, is there any innovation? Is there any fintech application that could help people send money between the countries or even between the regions of the country in a cheaper way than the usual fees that you get from the bank or the traditional companies that help you with that?
Yes, definitely. There are some new crypto ways, but not directly crypto transferences, but it's like fiat local money, crypto, and then local money again in 10 seconds. I mean, it's like a very quick way to actually send money. And yes, they're definitely new, and every time, every month, every week, better solutions for this type of transfers. Let me say one thing. When I was listening to what my colleagues were saying about the pandemic and what happened with fintech and with the benefits it brings to the population, the technology was already available. We had in Argentina, particularly in Latin America, we had the technology solutions were already available, world-class technology solutions. And what the pandemic did, as Arari said in a very good article he wrote at the beginning of the pandemic, he said, this situation is going to be like a fast forward in the adoption of different tech solutions. And that's exactly what happened. In Argentina, in the last 18 months, 3 million small companies started accepting digital payments thanks to fintech solutions, like dongles or mobile POS or different ways to e-commerce to accept digital payments. 2 million people were able to have access to credit thanks to fintech solutions, where there was no physical no physical contact, everything through the cell phone. And 3 million people had the opportunity to start investing in the last 18 months thanks to fintech solutions. So maybe these numbers are not much, but in a country of 45 million, maybe 2 million, 3 million, 4 million are not much. So this is a way to say, okay, there's a vibrant and an incredible process of growth, but the opportunity is still pretty big, you know, because, okay, we are celebrating 2 million people are having access are having access thanks to credit, thanks to fintech solutions, but we have 43 million more people to go and you know, give these services. So yeah, I think it's promising. You know, the technology was already available, and all of this situation pushed people to take their financial lives to the digital world. So I think we are living a pretty promising moment here in Argentina and Latin America, because I'm pretty sure my colleagues will say something pretty similar in their countries.
Thank you so much, Mariano. Unfortunately, we are almost up with our time, and I have so many other questions. I think this conversation could go on for the next 5 hours. Definitely, we will follow up with more content on Latin America. It's an exciting time for Latin America right now. And as Brazil, and as we see in Brazil, as we see in Argentina, this is just the beginning. And with Erick's thoughts on what El Salvador is going through right now, I think we are in for a very long, beautiful year of good news coming out of Latin America. Thank you everyone for tuning in today and going with us on this journey to all these beautiful countries, and to become witness for the innovation coming out of Latin America. Please connect with our speakers today through social media for many more questions that I'm sure you have. And also don't forget to have a look and check our news website, Finsight.news. We will make sure to keep reporting from Latin America and be the ones to keep you updated about the new innovation coming out of there. This is Loredena. It was a pleasure hosting you all today. It was a pleasure talking with you all today, and I will see you next year. Thank you.
Bye-bye.